What is up, everyone? It's me, Mark the Monster, for the Don't Say the F Word podcast. I am the leader of the PWO. That's right, the Puppet World Order. Today, we have a special Saturday show. We are snowed in Cleveland, and we are going to be joined by the BKFC heavyweight champion, Mick Terrill. Right there on that cool, the Donnybrook Company fight poster. Pretty awesome. We're going to have the heavyweight champ here. It looks like Mick might be just about ready to join us already out the gate. We want to thank everyone for checking us out on this Saturday morning here in the U.S. Mick is creeping up on the evening hours. Let me adjust this. I think I can get him in here. Gonna plug this thing in. Gonna move this over. At this weird cord. And now I think I got it. Maybe. Mick's getting joined in here. We want to just thank some of our friends. We got Sweeney's Hot Sauce out of Denver, Colorado. It sponsors all of our hot takes. Tomorrow we will have our weekend professional wrestling show. The big guy Jeremy, who will be here in just a second, he'll be joined by the illegal brother-in-law Joe. I think Joe's doing Royal Rumble trivia for us, and we'll see how that goes. We'll see if Jeremy remembers anything. He's been hit in the head quite a bit in his life, so I don't know that his memory is going to be very good. It is telling us that Mick Terrill is unable to join. I got to figure out these cords, I think. It's not the easiest thing in the world for a puppet to operate Instagram. We're getting there. Now maybe. I think I got it now. There we go. I can hear Mick.
How are you doing?
How are you today, sir?
I'm not too bad. Just struggling on.
I understand that today is your son's birthday.
It is. He's 20 the day.
Oh, happy birthday to him. And is his name Mick as well?
Little Mick, I mean, he's bigger than me, but he gets called Little Mick.
Oh, that's great. Hey, two Micks don't make a right?
Well, there's three. Me dad's Michael as well, so he's Mick the third. Smells a turd.
That's a trifecta of Micks. Yeah, gotta love that. Yeah, champ, I want to thank you for joining us. I hope that you and your son get some great time this evening to enjoy your birthday. His birthday, I mean. I did see your Instagram post this morning about 25-second abs. Will that work for a puppet?
You need a good Sharpie. You get a good Sharpie, maybe it's a different colour, and I think that'll work for you.
All right, I'm going to have to give that a shot. Thank you for joining us, sir. The big guy Jeremy is coming in, and you guys can hang out together. Thank you for checking us out, everyone. We will be back tomorrow, our pro wrestling show. But here we are, live. BKFC heavyweight champion of the world, Mick Terrill. Jeremy, get in here, do your job. Mick, what's up, brother?
Not too bad, how's you?
Oh, man, I'm snowed in. We got a lot of snow out there, so gotta find something to do to keep busy, right?
We had a little bit of snow up here, and then it just disappeared, didn't it?
Yeah, I think we probably got 8-9 inches out there, which is a lot.
Yeah.
3 inches is sufficient, so 8 or 9 is pretty excessive.
Nearly a foot.
Yeah. It's too much. Too cold, too much snow. But how are things for you? You feeling good? You feeling healthy?
Yeah, I think my face is just about ready to heal, and I've got a little bit of a stormy right eye. I think that'll heal up pretty quick. back at the gym again, trying to get myself fit and strong and ready to go again.
What's your time frame? What are you thinking about? When will you be ready to go again?
I think I'll be ready for maybe middle of April. Middle of April, I'll be ready.
That's soon. That is soon.
I like fighting. You know what I mean? It's the longer you wait, the less you get to hit somebody. You know what I mean? I just want to get in there, get as many as I can.
Yeah, I mean, you've been fighting a long time. A long time.
What year did you start? Chicken.
You started, what, about 18 years ago? 19 years ago?
I first walked in the gym when I was 23. Before that, I played football. I usually call it soccer. So I played that first. And then I was getting a lot of yellow and red cards. So I thought I might as well do something where I get a pat on the back for hitting people rather than get told off. So I started Thai boxing first. That was my first sport, Thai boxing. And then K1 kickboxing, and then on to boxing.
When you started Thai boxing, you were not a heavyweight, right? You were a lot smaller.
I was, when I originally went in the gym, I was about 17 stone, and I don't know what that is in pounds. And anyways, I cut down to 85 kilos, 13.5 stone. So that was my fight weight, 85 kilos. I'll be 160, 170, maybe 185 pounds. So that was my fight weight, but like I was eating chicken and broccoli 4 times a day, and I would eat my broccoli raw. So I would just have raw vegetables and a chicken breast 4 times a day, and that was it.
What did you feel better at? Did you feel better being lighter? Do you feel better being a heavyweight? I mean, as we get older, we all put on, what I like to call our man weight. Yeah.
Well, I was still 85 kilos when I was 31. So basically, I don't think I punch any harder now than when I was then. I was just a lot faster then. The difference is when you're heavyweight, you've got to put the weight on, because if somebody says hits you, it's not that the shot's hurt you, it just moves you a couple of yards, because you've been hit off someone heavier. So it's a bigger mass moving you. So if you're also a bigger mass, you get hit, you stay still. So the weight gain is basically for that for me. So I had loads of fun, to be honest. I had ice cream every day for about 5 or 6 years to get heavyweight. I was on the ice cream diet.
That's my kind of diet, man.
Yeah. I would have ice cream, cakes, custard, anything.
Just trying to get those calories in to put on that size?
Well, it was funny because back in England, where I was at 85 kilos, I was the number one at 85 kilos, so I was struggling to get fights. So I had to go up a weight. So at the beginning, I was still 85 kilos, fighting kids who were 120 kilos. So I was giving away like 3 and 4 stone. And I was holding my own. I got beat a couple of times on the transition up. And then eventually, once I hit the weight, I was there, I wasn't bad. But, like, fighting's a funny thing, this is how bad it was when I was 85 kilos. Like I say, I would have chicken and broccoli 4 times a day. And then for a treat, I would have a wet carrot, because you'd be surprised how sweet a wet carrot is. So I would suck on a wet carrot. I'd make sure it was like kept in water. And then I would just suck on the carrot, like nibble away at that. And that was a treat. So when you're fighting at heavyweight and you can have a beef burger or you can have like a sandwich, it's not bad training. You do, because when you're training lighter, you're starving. It's like you're absolutely starving. But when you're heavyweight, I can have a burger, steak, anything I want. It's great.
Yeah. Back whenever I was training and fighting, I did amateur MMA in the States, and it was a struggle for me to be a light heavyweight. I tried to get down to middleweight. I never got there. As an adult, my lightest was 193 pounds, I think. So I probably could have cut water and been to 185. But my lunches every day would be a can of tuna in my hand, just pour it out and just eat tuna.
I'll not eat tuna now. I'll not eat it now because I've had that much tuna in my life. I'll just not eat it. It's
I'm the same way. I can't eat it. I'll buy a bunch of packs of tuna. They got, it's great lean protein. I'll eat it. I bet you we got 10 packages in our cabinet of tuna that I know I'm not going to eat. I think I have tuna trauma.
Well, the best thing to do is I used to like putting in chopped tomatoes with garlic, and then put it in your tuna. At least it's got it, because like you say, back in the day, you tuna just out the tin, and it's dry and it's horrible. It's minging. I don't enjoy tuna now. It's like I was a necessity at the time. I had to have calories because I see people on the protein shakes and they're on this, and when you're that light, I just want to eat. Like if I had a protein shake, I couldn't eat, so I just wanted to eat.
Yeah, yeah. Whenever you're able to be comfortable at a heavyweight weight, it makes food a lot more enjoyable. You're able to have a lot more flavorful and more nutritious things. You don't got to be so selective as you do at a lighter weight.
It's enjoyable, like what we used to do as well. Like there's a few in the gym. A couple of them are cutting weight. So if someone's cutting weight, I'll definitely come in with a chocolate ball, and I'll eat a chocolate ball right in front of them just to wind them up. And then them used to do this shit. I used to work with a lad called Craig Jones, very good Thai boxer, and we used to work on the doors together as bouncers. If he had a fight coming up and he was cutting weight, I'll go and get a milkshake or a McDonald's. Could even be winter. Could have been minus 10 degrees Celsius over here, and I would sit freezing, drinking a milkshake just because he couldn't, and then he would do the same to me.
That's such a dick move right there, man.
That's a British humor.
I can appreciate it. That's for sure. Certainly an asshole way to go about it, but man, I respect it.
Yeah, it's that was our little thing together. We're just trying to wind each other. I mean, the gym I train at, that's all we do, just wind each other up. You go to the gym. My wife says it's not really training because you're there with your friends and you just non-stop winding each other up.
Yeah. I think that's something that's really special about a combat sports gym is that most of the time you just have a bunch of guys that are just making fun of each other, talking shit to each other, beating each other up, but supporting the hell out of one another.
Well, that's the thing, especially, when it comes to fights, and people say, I can't fight him, he's my friend. I'll fight my friend 3-4 times a week. You know what I mean? That's sparring. When we spar, we're trying to take each other's heads off. So, like, when someone says, I can't fight him, I like him, I'd say, if you get in that ring and I'm getting paid to hit you, I'm hitting you. I don't care who you are. It's like, you could be my brother. You know what I mean? If I'm getting paid to hit you, you're getting hit.
That's prize fighting, right? If the check's there, you're going to punch them. That's just the way it goes.
Nothing personal in it for me. If you notice, I never lose my temper. I never get angry. It's like, it's just a game to me. It's like, I'm going to get paid and I've got to hurt you as much as I can. After the fight, we can go for a drink. But during the fight, I'm going to hurt you as much as I can.
And that's the thing. Whenever the rematch for you to become BKFC champ, I think a lot of people thought there was some animosity there with it being the rematch and you didn't come away victorious the first time around. But then those post-fight interviews, you're like, he's one of my favorite fighters. I enjoy that guy. He's just
when we had the fight, we were going back to the hotel, and I think Arnold was struggling getting a lift back to the hotel from the venue. I'll give him a lift back. He jumped in with my car. I say, I like Arnold. He's a nice guy, he's a good kid. But during that fight, you've got to hurt each other, and then after the fight, you're friends again.
Yeah, and I think that's why we don't see too much shit talking from you, though, right? It's just about business. It's not personal. You're not mad at the guy you're fighting. It's just this is what you do for a living.
But that's it. It's like you say, I enjoy hitting people. Don't get us wrong. When I'm quite sadistic, I want to hurt you as much as I possibly can. But after that, there's a lot of respect there. Two people have tried to punch each other's heads in. And then after it's done, isn't it? Once it's done, it's done. That's it. You're straight at the ball.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of one of those things that's super unique about combat sports, especially for people who've not trained, aren't really familiar with anyone who has, that get it. Like, it's not about being mad. You guys, I think my time around fighters, it's always some of the most relaxed, calm, grateful, and appreciative people. Some of the nicest guys you could ever meet. But when it's time to be violent, you're highly skilled at violence, and you can do it like nobody else.
I'll tell you what you've got to worry about in the gyms. It's, the new fighters. They come in, they've still got an ego. But, I think once you know you can fight, you know your friend can fight, You don't need to prove yourself. You know what he can do. He knows what I can do. I don't need to prove that I'm tougher than him. He's seen it. But sometimes you get the new fighters who, like, you're sparring and they try to go that little bit extra heavy and they actually want to take your head off. So every now and then you've got to put them back in their box. But apart from that, I think once the new ones realise where they are in the pecking order, I think that's what happens with gyms. You have a pecking order, you don't mess with him. If you mess with him, he might take your head off when you're sparring. He's all right. You can get away with stuff. He'll teach you stuff. And there's a pecking order. And once it's like dogs, isn't it? It's a pack of dogs. You just want to see who's the best and who's, you know what I mean? That's just the way it is.
Over the years, the training, how have things changed for you? Like, I know, like, you talk about sparring hard with your training partners, and that's something I think, it's hard to go 70% in the gym. But have you found as you've gotten more experience and you've learned more, you've trained more, you've had tons more fights, do you feel as though you're able to find a different pacing to maybe go not as aggressive in the gym to keep that reserved and flip that switch when it's fight night? Or are you still a full clip in the gym kind of guy?
No, it's like I always say, to be a good fighter, you need 3 sparring partners. Your first sparring partner needs to be worse than you. And if you want to practice something that you've been doing on the pads, you get the sparring partner that's worse than you, and you practice at a lighter pace. And then once you're able to practice that, you then go with the person that's on the same level as you. So when he's on the same, he's going to catch you with shots that the person that was worse than you can't, because he's on the same level. So if it's working, and then really you need a sparring partner that's better than you. So when you're all trying these little tricks, you've got to defend as well, because he's definitely going to hit you. It gets hard as the levels go up, because then you've got to start searching for sparring partners, because in England, it's a thing called king of the gym. Once you're king of the gym, it's boring. It's a lonely place. You've got to go to another gym to make sure that you're getting beat up. If you go around winning every sport, you're not sparring properly. And when you come into your fight, you're gonna find why you shouldn't do that, because when you think you're going to be at your pace, your opponent's going to put it on you, and you can't keep up. So you need to find the next level all the time. It's a game of levels, isn't it? You've just got to search for the next level.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was who said it. It may have been Boss Rutan, maybe, that if you're the best guy in your gym, you need to leave that gym.
Yep. It's horrible. It's a lonely place. I remember I was at the gym for a long time. I was best in the gym, and you get bad habits, because you get away with things that you shouldn't get away with. So you do get a bad habit. Drop your hands, you be a little bit cocky, and you sort of laugh it off, and like someone will say you'll get caught, and you think, well, he hasn't caught us. But when you get in that ring and someone's as equally as good as you will get caught.
Yeah, you can't really get lax on that. And I think probably you got a lot of fighters between boxing, bare knuckle, MMA, who probably have been in the same place for a long time, who have gotten very comfortable with, the system that they're training in.
Yeah.
Maybe they do get really relaxed on that, and they keep making those mistakes because no one in the gym is catching it. And then it comes fight night, and that guy across, the cage or the ring, whatever, he's going to catch that mistake.
Well, there's a saying, I think, it's practice makes perfect, and it doesn't. Practice doesn't make perfect. If you practice to do something wrong all the time, eventually you'll do it wrong all the time. Practice makes permanent. If you practice something permanently, you'll either do it wrong or you do it right. So you've got to practice right and get it right, and if you don't, you'll do it wrong. So practice makes permanent.
Wow, I like that a lot. That's a great one. Yeah, that's true, man. Practice makes permanent. You're practicing wrong, you're just going to keep doing the wrong thing.
You need somebody in there. I think it was Les Welch told us, a boxing trainer around ours, great boxing trainer. Practice makes permanent. If you keep doing it wrong, you're going to get caught, because you think it's right. If you're being taught something wrong and you think it's right, you get caught and you're going to get hurt. And the problem with the fight game is when you make mistakes, you get knocked out. When you're playing football with your friends, I think like American football with you lose a point. In this game, you get knocked out. It's personal. You've got nobody to blame but yourself.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's you may have a team around you that helps you prepare, but whenever it's time to show up and be the man in the arena, it's you. You're alone, and it's like you said before, it's a lonely
When
place.
you you'll know as well as me, if you're in a fighting game and everyone's been there and it's not going your way, that 3 minutes, it seems like 25 minutes. You know, when you're trying to survive and you're surviving and you might be tired, you might be gassed out, and someone's keep punching you and punching you, and you're looking, you're thinking, when's it going to end?
Yeah, yeah. I've been there in the gym. I've been there in fights where it's like this is. I wasn't ready. This was not a good spot for me, and it's. I got a feeling this doesn't end well, and I've certainly been in spots where it didn't end well for
Well,
me. That's for
my
sure.
my first 10 fights, you know, like when I first started, like I say, I was a 17 stone lad, come down to 13 stone. So it's like 4 stone, what's that? 14 times by 4. It's 40, 56 pounds I end up losing for my first fight. So it took us a year to get there. So I was a big puncher for my weight. And I was just knocking everybody out. Everyone I was punching, as soon as I touched them, they were out. And then once I got my 10th fight and the level went up a little bit, I couldn't knock the lad out. So, like I say, practice makes permanent. I wasn't training very hard. I was thinking, champion, I'm going to knock everybody out. And I hit him on the chin. He shrugged his shoulders. I was like, shit, this is going to be a long night. And it was. I won the fight, but like I realised I wanted to get my horse in the gym and run more and, you know, do more cardio.
So to have your career start out on such a high note where you're just knocking guys out, and it's I don't want to say easy because fighting's never easy, but things were going your way in the beginning quite often. That first time you lost, what was that like for you to lose your first fight?
I'll tell any fighter this, right? And like, because you're in, it's a shock. You get beat and you're suicidal. And I don't care what anyone says, you're suicidal. It's the worst feeling in the world. And what you've got to do is you pick yourself up. It's the fight game. It's win or lose. You pick yourself up. You get yourself straight back in that gym. And then you start hitting the bags and you get back on it. Because if you don't, you'll sit in a slump for 6, 7 months. Just like I know fighters lose their fights and they're on drug binges. As soon as if I lost my fight, I did not sleep for about a week. I would analyse exactly what I've done wrong, where I was standing, what I should have done. And that's the first thing I do. I analyse it for a week. Where did I go wrong? And then I get back in the gym. I say, I need to improve on this. I wasn't fast enough. I wasn't strong enough. I should do more weights. Maybe I need to do more explosive training, or I needed more stamina. And I try and work on what I've been rubbish at. And to be fair, I actually do this with fights I win. I never watch me fight back and say, I look great there. I watch me fight back and I'll say, that was wrong, I've done this wrong, that was wrong, I need to improve on that and I need to change that. But I think that's when your fighting becomes your job. You know, you've got to be good.
Yeah, and well, I think that mentality, if you're going to look at where you had the opportunity to improve, that's why you're a champion today. You look at, I think Louis Simmons, Westside Barbell, powerlifting, legendary powerlifting coach. His mantra was, "Who gives a shit about what you're doing well? We have to fix what's broken."
Exactly. That's the same as me. I've got to, if I spar, you know, I'll not sleep that night, you know, like I spar 3 or 4 times a week. But if I've been hit with a shot and like I know exactly where I was in the ring, what minute was in the round, I'm lucky like that. So I'll say, let's say it's a minute in the round, I've tried to circle, I've went the wrong way and I've been punched with a really good shot. Hasn't hurt us. Didn't affect anything in the round of sparring, but I shouldn't have been there and I shouldn't have been hit. So I'll have to, like, in my mind, go back through why I was in that position. So I'll not sleep till 3, 4 in the morning because I think I shouldn't have been there. And then I've got to be up at 6 in the morning the next morning to go train again. But like, I'll just play in my mind all night. I shouldn't have been there. I should have stepped that way. I should have maybe just pivoted, maybe just backed off over that way. And but that's the way my mind works. I'm disappointed if I get hit more than 10 times in a fight.
Yeah, and that's understandable. Whenever you talk about looking at your fights, whenever you've had a loss and breaking it down, is that something, do you shoulder that whole responsibility yourself? Or do you have someone in your gym, a coach, training partner, who can kind of look at you and look at your fight objectively and go, okay, here's where your missteps are. This is where you need to look to improve. Do you have someone else analyzing that along with you, or do you just totally internalize that all on your own?
No, well, like I say, I'll go back home. I'll have a think about it. My coach, Andy Davison, he used to train with me back in the day. We're training partners back in the day. He now trains us. So I'll go back to Andy, I'll get the video, I'll say, this is what I've done, this is what I should have done, and he'll go through and he'll say, yeah, you're right, oh, well, let's do this. Or he might have a little bit of input and say, I think you should have went more this way, or and that's where we work. And it's the same leading up to a fight, you know, like if I'm fighting Rothwell, I've got to lose weight. If I fight what's he called, Lorenzo Hunt, I've got to gain weight because he's explosive. You know what I mean? So
We got Lorenzo back here on a poster too.
If I'm fighting different people, I've got to have different game plans because Lorenzo's really explosive. You know what I mean? He's really good. He's really quick. He likes to come in with a lot of hooks. So I'm going to have to go with Lorenzo with straight shots and get him on the back foot. If I've got Rothwell comes forward on you, but Rothwell doesn't throw 100% in every shot. He's just throwing little shots trying to tire out. So I'm going to have to be smaller and lighter and get away. So I'm faster. So that there's different game plans for different fighters. You should never go in thinking my game plan's going to beat everybody because they're two-dimensional. You've got to change it up every now and then.
Yeah. And for you, I mean, as the heavyweight champ BKFC right now, you have so many guys that are gunning for that title opportunity. And that top echelon in BKFC, it's a killer's row. You mentioned it. You have Lorenzo Hunt. You got Ben Rothwell. We got Roy Nelson. And we may have Mark Hunt.
Josh Watson. There's loads. Like people, one of my friends pulled us the other day. Went, what's it like being world champion? I went, it's the worst feeling in the world. And he went, why? I went, I've got like 8 or 9 really tough kids want to fill us in. I says, everyone wants to beat us up. No, I says it's the worst feeling in the world.
Yeah, and I imagine it's got to be, one of those things. Is you're looking at April as a possibility. We don't know who that could be against yet. You have a lot of guys calling you out, looking for that opportunity. I've only seen you make one call out, and that's Tyson Fury. If he wants to step into your world, that'd be really cool to see that. I think you guys would sell a hell of a lot of tickets and pay-per-views. That's for sure.
Well, I mean, Tyson Fury's one of my favourite fighters, but he's wanting to fight people across loads of different organisations, doesn't he? Like he wants MMA fighters, he just fought in Ghana, and I think it was like Bare Knuckle's the most extreme. Calls himself the Gypsy King. Bare Knuckle boxing's gypsy fighting in it. So I thought I'd try and get the opportunity to get in. I've already sparred his cousin Huey. I sparred Huey when Huey was fighting Parker for the world title. So I met Peter and Huey through there, So it'd be nice to get that fight.
Yeah, hell yeah, it'd be a great payday.
Oh, it'd be excellent payday. And my wife's spending money, so I need it,
Well, and you got a grandbaby on the way too, so you may need that payday. You may have to start building a trust fund up for some grandbabies.
That was a shock. Christmas Day we got told about that. That was a little bit of a shock. I mean, obviously happy about it now, but at the time it was like, you are young, you know what I mean? You're going to be skint. You're going to have no money.
Yeah, I was a young dad myself. I was 15 when my daughter was born.
Oh, yeah?
Me and my wife, we got started really early. We didn't waste any time. Yeah, we've been together all high school. We started dating. I was 14 years old. I'm 41 now, and she's dealt with me through my years of fighting and all that comes along with. I think a lot of folks don't realize that's a husband who's a fighter is never easy on the missus. It's never easy on the kids. It's a very selfish sport, and it has to be.
It is. You're right. It is very selfish. I mean, I'm looking over the time. My wife just says that's what you do. But at the beginning, my wife's like, I'd rather we went out somewhere because it wasn't like it was a hobby at the beginning. You do it as a hobby, and it's like I'd rather we go to the pictures, or I think it was called at the cinema. I'd rather we go out for something to eat. And I was like, no, I need to go to the gym. It's addictive. People don't realize. It's like I've never ever took drugs. I'm virtually teetotal. I only drink twice a year. Don't ever take any drugs. But my addiction is the gym. Like if I don't go to the gym, I start going berserk.
Yeah. My fighting days are long behind me. I was never anywhere close to your level by any means. But I think it's one of those things where if you have that thing, and it's that thing where whenever it's time to show up and it's all on you, it's almost becomes all consuming. It becomes beyond the job. It becomes an obsession of the passion to do that thing. But that shows in what you have to show for it. You have that world title. It shows that dedication, and that's lives forever.
Like I say, I've been lucky with my wife. It's to be good at this game. And if you've got a family, you need a supporting wife. If your wife doesn't support what you do, then stop doing it or get rid of your wife. You know what I mean? It's you can't do this and then come home and argue. You know what I mean? It's a stressful job. Somebody wants to beat you up, and then your wife, if you've got one of them wives that kick off with you, you're having 2 fights a night.
Yeah, and that's gonna be exhausting. It's not the '90s where you can do a tournament in one night and you can do 4 fights. Fighting in the gym to come home and fight with the missus is not the way to go, because she's gonna win.
Oh, 100%. It's like you'd be the toughest bloke in the world when your wife says, "Go on, you're doing the dishes." That's it, you're doing the dishes. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, then we've got that little hole between the legs, and I want in it. You know what I mean? So if I want to get in the hole, I need to do the dishes.
Yeah, like people joke because my wife's small. She's barely 5 feet tall, and I'm a big guy, and I'm not scared of much, but she scares me. I love her too much. She scares me.
I mean, my wife's a bit taller. Like, she's 5'8". You know what I mean? But I swear, my wife, I was weighing her up, and she said she was going to kick us in the head. Of course, I'm 6'3". She's 5'8". And I said, "There's no way you can kick me in the head." And she went, "Well, stand up and I'll kick you in the head." So I've stood up, and she kicked us straight in the head. I couldn't believe it. She kicked us straight in the chin. I couldn't believe it. I just went, "Fair enough, you're right." But what do you do to that? You know what I mean?
Well, here's one thing. Now you know for sure she can kick you in the head, so you're going to stay in line. She let you know.
I mean, it didn't hurt, but it reached. You know what I mean? It definitely reached. The intent was there. You know what I mean?
That's funny. I wish there was video. I really wish there was video of that.
I think there might be one somewhere. I bought her a pair of boxing gloves once, and it was funny because I said, "Go on, you can beat us up." So I put the boxing gloves on. I've just stood there and then I beat us up. And then our mum was there watching, my mother-in-law. And our mum said, "Oh, it looks really fun there." I says, "Go on, you can get them on." And our mum beat us up as well. So I think the two of them really enjoyed their day that day.
Yeah, don't make that mistake. Don't teach your wife how to throw good punches.
Oh, she does. My wife does throw a good punch.
That's risky business. That's risky business. She'll get too skilled at it, and she'll put one on your chin and mess your whole morning up.
Keeps it edgy, though, doesn't it? Keeps it edgy, the relationship.
Yeah, it gets you a whole different dynamic, right? So when we look at, that potential title defense for you, I'm sure the answer is whoever brings the biggest payday. But do you have a preference of who gets that title shot? Is there anyone that for that experience of sharing that ring with them, does that, the legacy of Mark Hunt, does that make that more interesting than anybody else?
It's not even so much whoever brings the biggest payday. It's whoever is the biggest fight for the BKFC. For what people want to watch. Obviously, the payday is great, but it's second to none. You want the biggest fights. I mean, at the minute, Mark Hunt is a massive name. So if you can get the Mark Hunt fight, it's. I mean, I know he's older now, but it's still, if you can, like, my friends can't believe Mark Hunt's even talking to us. You know what I mean? So because all my kickboxing friends will look up to Mark Hunt. So like, my friends were going, "As he messaged me," I went, yeah, we've been speaking. They're like, "I can't believe it. I can't believe it." But like, then you've got Lorenzo. I probably think Lorenzo deserves it the most. He's had the most fights in BKFC. He's great for the sport. His image is great. I mean, he's just muscles, isn't he? So he looks great for the sport. He's had lots of fights, lots of wins. Good-looking kid, full of muscles. He can fight as well. He brings it. It's either kill or be killed with Lorenzo. You know what I mean? So he's 2 times world champion. You cannot say he doesn't deserve it.
Right.
You've got Rothwell. Rothwell was the biggest name in the company, unless Mark Hunt's in. So obviously you want the Rothwell fight because he's a big name, big lad as well. You've got to train different for Rothwell. although I'm not sure he'll even make the weight. He's like, when you look at him at 265 at UFC, he's a lot bigger than 265. No, I think it's went up to 275.
Yeah,
He's got a lot of weight to lose.
Looks big, big.
I weighed in at 270 against Arnold, and he's still double the size of me, so he's only got 5 pounds extra like on us. But he's a good 40, 50 pounds heavier than me. Even when he wasn't well on that podcast, he was still massive. So he hasn't made an effort to lose the weight. So Rothwell's a good shout, and then you've got Roy Nelson. He's come in, but he hasn't fought yet, so he's in the same boat as Mark Hunt. You've got to have a fight first. Well, that's another big name, and then you've got Josh Copeland. He just beat Greg Hardy as well, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
And sorry, it was Josh Watson beat Greg Hardy.
Oh yeah, it was Watson. Yeah.
Yes, I mean that was a great punch. That was probably punch of the year for me as well. That was a great knockout. So he's probably
it was a good knockout, man.
It was great on it. And then you've got Copeland. I think I've heard today he's had another victory since his fight with Rothwell. But I mean, if you look at the size difference between Copeland and Rothwell, I thought he'd done well against Rothwell as well. So there's lots of names in the hat. I mean, people are saying Arnold Adams came for a rubber match, which I'm all up for. But then Arnold's coming off 2 losses. Does he deserve another go at the title after 2 losses? So there's lots of things you've got to weigh up, you know. And like, to me, it's say I want to hit anybody. I don't care which one it is. I just want to hit one of them.
Yeah, I think it's hard to make that argument for Arnold coming off 2 losses to be back into the title picture immediately. I think Lorenzo Hunt's great option, as you said. He's very deserving. Me and Lorenzo Hunt were from the same town. We went to the same schools. My only thing, if I looked at it from a business standpoint, is does Lorenzo vacate 2 titles to come after heavyweight?
The other thing is, you'll say Mark Hunt hasn't fought in the organisation. Lorenzo hasn't fought at heavyweight. So like, that's the only thing I've got with Lorenzo. He hasn't fought at heavyweight yet. And although I think probably he's the most deserving, should you not fight at heavyweight before you have a crack at it? And say, can he cope at the top? Does he want to vacate 2 titles before he realises, hold on, these are a lot bigger than what I'm used to? I mean, I like Lorenzo, we'll have a laugh after. I mean, the thing you've got to put on the show, Pony, and the thing. But after me and Lorenzo get on well, but I'm a lot bigger than Lorenzo, and there's people a lot bigger than me. Like, Rothwell is double the size of me, and I'm a lot bigger than Lorenzo.
Yeah. I think if you look at that heavyweight division, you look at, the guys who it could be, if you look at that potential, it'd be an interesting night if David Feldman were to make, Lorenzo Hunt a heavyweight fight against a Ben Rothwell. I certainly am not counting either guy out against the other. I'm not, I do my best to be unbiased. But I think it's a night for Lorenzo.
I'm hoping they don't fight each other because I want to fight all of them. That's the problem I've got. I think if one of them fights each other, I might not get a chance of fighting them. So I'm hoping they might get a journeyman or something, and then at least I get a crack at everyone. I honestly want to fight. Like, when I hear the Lorenzo fight, your ears prick up. I think I want to fight Lorenzo. He's mint. And then you think Rothwell. I want to fight Rothwell. He's a massive name. Then you think Mark Hunt. I definitely want to fight Mark Hunt. It's like a hero, And then I want to fight all of them at some point. But it's like, if they fight each other and beat each other, I might not get that chance.
Yeah, that's true. I had Mark Hunt on earlier this week and showed the picture he had shared of your face on the dartboard. and I bet Mick loved every minute of that because your history in kickboxing and K1 and the time frame you came up, like you talk about looking up to Mark Hunt, and I told him the same thing. Like, when I was in the gym, like I studied Mark Hunt fights. I couldn't tell you how many times I watched so much of his K1 career. And I bet Mick just enjoyed that. Like, to have Mark Hunt do that, like, it's a great hype thing, but man, like, that just got to almost give you a warm feeling in your stomach to have it happen.
It obviously, when it tags in it, you get a message on Instagram saying that you've been tagged in something. So I just wrote, that's the best looking dartboard I've ever seen. And then he put something else on. And I went, Mark, if you were 6 inches taller, a little bit younger, much slimmer, You would look that good as well. You could be on your top board. But I just got to have a laugh with it, you know. It's funny.
Yeah, I mean, what do you say? What can you say?
But yeah, I don't take it personally. I think it's funny. I'll say champion, you know what I mean? But I'd say I can't believe it, to be honest. You know, you've got more message, like you get a message and it's more come through.
Yeah, it's got to feel surreal to have that happen in your career. That that fight is out there. That's a realistic thing down the road for you. That can be a reality of you standing across the ring from Mark Hunt, and that's just cool. That's just a cool thing.
Massive. It's horrible, you know, because in the UK the Thai boxing and the K1, it's only just starting to kick off now. You've got the One Series, and they've got a lot of good British fighters in One Series now. But before that, we were forgotten about over in England. You know, the K1, it was just forgotten. You had to go abroad to fight. So, like, I was fighting in, like, Italy, Switzerland, Romania, places like that, you know, just trying to, because it's forgotten about in England. It's only now starting to pick up. It's like, it seems all the combat sports are starting to, you know, raise the bar. BKFC's actually, like, quadrupled it over, you know, again. It's went phenomenal, you know.
You know, as a fan, I feel like the BKFC has relit a fire into the world of combat sports. I feel like kickboxing, fell off. I think there was a lot of opportunity with Glory Kickboxing, where they were having great fights and a great presentation. It just couldn't gain traction.
Do you know what it is? It's the BKFC reminds me of when the UFC kicked off. And the problem I've got, because like I've done MMA for years, but like, like trained it, but the problem I had with the UFC, because if they lost 3 fights, they were out the promotion. So people were trying not to lose rather than wanting to win. So you had like, they were jack of all trades. Back in the day, it was like you had a kickboxer versus jiu-jitsu. And then if it was stood up, you knew the kickboxer was going to smash him. As soon as I got to the deck, the kickboxer was in for it. But now they all know a little bit about everything, but they're not experts in one thing. So they just cancel each other out. So I think the BKFC is the purest form of stand-up you're going to get.
I would agree with that 100%. And I think that just in talking to David Feldman and talking about kind of like the design of how the events will take place and starting off in the middle, that like 2.5, 3 feet apart from each other, then offering up the bonuses for staying in the middle and keeping it active and maintaining that pressure, it makes it the most exciting combat sport on the planet right now.
Honestly, like you say, even that, just standing in the middle and just being told, right, go, because you're not sure if, like, you could have a Lorenzo Hunt, you might just fly a massive hook at you. So you've got to be on the ball, or you get some fighters you don't want to step forward into them in case they counter you. So you've got to be that little bit extra cautious. Like, what do I do? You've got to study how they start off. It's whereas you would never have to do that. Usually in like boxing, Thai boxing, you sort of jab your way in. That, it's like you might get your head taken off straight away.
Yeah, and I think that adds such a different dynamic. And I'm so happy that I'm not in a combat sports gym anymore and having BKFC out there lingering for me to think, man, I should give that a shot, because that pressure, because like you want to be first. Like MMA, yeah, you're trying to be first, but BKFC, you have to be first.
Yeah, I find as well, back in the early days, like when I was doing BKB, in England, I ended up winning the world title and that. I found, if you could survive the first round, they were tired the second round. So, like, I was quite good at taking a shot. So, like, I might even get dropped, but I survived the first round. I knew the second round I was going to beat them up, because then we're gassing out. And, like, I'm lucky my pace just stays the same the full way. Like, I never slow down. I don't really speed up that much. It looks like I'm throwing more shots, but it's just my opponent's more tired. So as long as you can keep a good pace all the way through, you'll do all right.
Yeah, pacing it out I think that's key, and your durability. You can handle some punishment and get through it, and it's not the negative of being tough and not having good technique. It's just that you're going to get hit. It's going to happen, and you can take those shots. Throughout your career, who's been the hardest? Whose punch do you think has been like the most damaging? Who's been the hardest striker you've been in there with? I think I lost my audio.
I think we were having some technical difficulties. I think I lost Mick Terrill. Gotta love Instagram and these live podcasts. Anything can happen, and I think we lost our connection to BKFC heavyweight champ Mick Terrill. We're gonna see if we can get him back in here. I feel like that may be Mark the Monster's fault. I don't know what he unplugged, but I think perhaps something got unplugged there, and we lost the champ. But I think we're looking at some great potential fights for Mick Terrill. I think the possibility of Lorenzo Hunt, moving up to heavyweight and getting a title shot against Mick would be really fantastic. I think it would be a great fight for sure. But as Mick has said, without having a heavyweight fight under his belt, does Lorenzo
The heavyweight easily. Oh, there we go. We got Mick back.
Sorry about that. I pressed the power button on my phone.
That's all right. You know what? I blamed Mark the Monster. I put all the blame on the puppet. So
I've just had to run upstairs, make sure I'm uncharged as well. But,
good. So, in your career, who's been the hardest striker you've been in there with? Who's hit the hardest that you've been able to take it and just keep moving?
Back in the day, I was fighting on Super Combat. I was fighting in Romania, I think it was. I fought a lad called Patrick van Ries. He was a Dutch lad, K1 style fighting. And I remember there was another Dutch team out there at the time, and I says, he was called Milton from Slam Gym. I says, Milton, I says, what's Patrick like? He went, Patrick's good, he's got power on both hands. So I went, what do you mean? He went, he's got KO on both hands. And I thought, oh, okay then, he's going to say that, But he jabbed us and my eyes went black. And then later on he caught us with the right hand, my eyes went black again. And so I thought, I'm going to have to stop this boxing. I'm going to have to try and kick him a little bit more, So in the finish, I ended up breaking his leg with the kicks. I just kicked his leg to bits. And his ankle snapped in about 5 places, I think. But it was lucky because if he had kept punching me, I was out.
As you transitioned into bare knuckle, do you ever find yourself reverting back mentally to those kickboxing instincts, and you almost got to stop yourself from throwing that kick?
Honestly, I'm just going to turn the telly down. The first 4 or 5 fights, I nearly knocked myself out on one of them. There was a punch there I could have thrown, it was a right hand, and I think I would have finished the lad, but I went for a head kick instead, and I was lucky, my hips lifted, my legs sort of come up, and I stopped myself throwing it, but I was that annoyed with myself, I punched myself in the face, because I could have stopped him with a right hand, so I punched myself out of temper, and as I've hit myself, I thought I'd rocked myself, so I've been hit, I was like, oh no, I think I've hurt myself. But, I was there for 4 or 5 fights, I was trying to kick people.
Yeah. I feel like that instinct would be hard to break because you spend so much of your life in the gym throwing those kicks on the heavy bags, throwing those high kicks on your sparring partner, and then that muscle memory sets in, especially if you get hurt. I think it'd be a hard thing to just not pull that trigger and uncork one on somebody just out of instinct.
It was hard, really, for me because I was quite a fluent fighter. I would throw kicks and punches together. You get some fighters that'll hold like 3 punches and then a kick on the end, whereas I would hold punch, kick, punch, kick, punch, kick. So it becomes an instinct, like that's the next shot available. And it's just hard. And then it got the point, like for my first few boxing fights, I didn't know how to get in with a jab because I used to use an inside leg kick and I had to get myself in range. So I'd fake a jab, inside leg kick, and then get myself in with my hands. But when you haven't got the inside leg kick, you've got to make the range with your fists. So I used to struggle at the beginning to just try. Once I was engaged, I was fine. It's just getting on the engagement into, into the mid-range.
In the gym now, do you strictly, is it just all hands? Do you avoid everything? You avoid kicks completely?
I'm 40 now. If you try to head kick now, I'll probably snap. But, like, there's a lot of kickboxing goes on in our gym, so like I still like to watch it. I prefer watching kickboxing to normal boxing. Obviously, you cannot watch bare knuckle boxing in sparring because you'd be absolutely stupid if you sparred bare knuckle. I mean, you're just gonna, I mean, you just bare knuckle sparring is boxing sparring. It's just when you get in there, you take your gloves off. But if I ever see kickboxing or Thai boxing, I still like to watch it. I think it's more exciting than ordinary boxing.
Yeah. Yeah, you have those other dynamics. You have that technique of mixing everything together, makes it a very different experience.
You ever see someone come flying out with a scissor knee and knock somebody out? You know, it's like it's magical, really. It's like, get in, it's happened.
Yeah, it's like, it happens so fast.
I mean, we've got our own show, me and Mike trainer, called The Straightener. In England, a straightener means two people that don't like each other, they go out and have a fight. So we've decided to put a show on based on that, a straightener. If you don't like someone, call them out on our show, and then the two of you can have a fight. And if it wants to be MMA, it can be MMA. If it wants to be boxing, it can be boxing or bare knuckle or whatever discipline you want. So we've decided this concept for our show. And, when you get boxers who come and watch kickboxers or even like a little bit of MMA, they might never have seen kickboxing before. And they think it's all shiny pants, like point scoring. But when you see a good K1 Thai boxing style fight, it's dangerous. You're watching, you think, "Whoa, he took his head off for that kick."
Yeah, I like that concept. Call somebody out, and 2 weeks later, glove up and go in there.
The thing is, right, we'll call it the straightener. And what I would do is I'll publicly put it out. So let's say you've got like Joe Bloggs wants to have a fight with Dave Apple. So you're going, Dave Apple, Joe Bloggs says he wants to fight with you. If you don't want it, I'll have to tell everyone you're scared. So Dave Apple's he's got to have a fight, hasn't he? Because if he doesn't, everyone's going, Dave Apple's a little pussy. You know what I mean? So you're putting it on them. They don't like each other. They might as well have a fight about it.
Absolutely. I mean, what better way to solve your differences?
Do you know what it is? Do you know what? If you'll know this as well from the gym. You don't like someone, you have a fight, you shake hands, you go to the bar. You know what I mean? It's the way it should be done. But I don't know what the crime's like over your end. Half the time they're smashing each other's house windows, they're stabbing each other. I think have the fight and get it out of the way with.
Yeah, man. And it's the area I'm in. I've determined that people are afraid to catch an ass whooping. People are scared to get beat up, so they're a full weapon. It's going to be, it's very different, and I think I want to blame it generationally, but there's tons of cats my age. I'm 41. There's tons of guys my age who lived a life where no one's ever just punched you in the face because you were acting out of pocket, so they don't know what that is, and if it ever happens, they don't know how to respond accordingly because 95% of people out there simply can't fight.
It's they get that comfortable calling people arseholes or wankers or jerk-offs or whatever you call it over there, and they get away with it because it's on a computer. But if you're face-to-face and you call someone a jerk-off, you get punched in the face. You know what I mean? I'm the same age as you. We're from the same era. I was arguing with my wife yesterday. If you slap someone, and if someone's called you a jerk off, you go and slap them. And your wife says, you shouldn't do that. And I says, well, them shouldn't call you a jerk off. I says, if I was arguing with someone and he had a gun in his hand, I wouldn't call him a jerk off because I'm frightened he's going to shoot us. I'll try and be as nice as I can for that 10 minutes, get out the way. Maybe he's get my own gun. You know what I mean? But at that time, he's got a gun. I'm not going to jerk him off, call him a jerk off. You know what I mean? So if somebody knows I can punch them, they shouldn't call me because I might punch them. But they're that used to being able to do it. They think they can.
I agree with you. And I look at people and you see these videos all the time of things that happen in these restaurants or these stores where people are just flying off the handle with these people who are just trying to do their job. They're just working for this company. They're just trying to make a paycheck. And I always wonder, what made that person think that wasn't that guy's last day at work? He may be at the end of his 2-week notice and he doesn't care anymore.
Do you know what it is? It's the victim culture. It's all victim minutes. So what they'll do is they'll wind you up, call you, and then as soon as you slap them, I'm phoning the police. I've phoned the police. You've just done this to us. I'm thinking, hold on, you've spent 20 minutes winding the lad up. You know what I mean? He slapped you now because you deserve it. And now it's like, you've assaulted us. I'm phoning the police. I'm thinking, no, man, I hope he slaps him straight back into the 80s, when they realise you can't do that.
Yeah, it's it's a weird time. It's a really weird time. But I think maybe, hopefully within our lifetime, we get to see the pendulum swing back the other way. Because you can only go so far. You can only go so far left where people are acting totally out of control, and there's no consequences, and
Yep.
people aren't respectful. Yeah, and I think it's a small group that act that way, but they get all the attention. They drain all the energy out of us.
Do you know what I think that's happening now? Because where I live, right, we live in the northeast England, and it was a coal mining town, and then our Tories would be like your Republicans shut down the coal mines. The thing is, we needed them shut because we end up turning into gas. You've got over where we live, you've got gas central heating, you get instant hot water. So it's the progression in it. It's like you needed that. But then, anyways, we're all maybe central, slightly leading towards left on the scale. And the northeast England, my family are central left. But the problem now is the left or that far left. If you're not extreme left, you're right wing, and you're probably central left. You're normal people central left, but because you're not extreme left, you're right wing. And I'm thinking, what's going on? They're trying to call you Nazis and stuff. And I'm thinking, I'm pretty sure Hitler was a leftist. You know what I mean? It's like, as soon as you don't agree with someone now, you're a Nazi. And I'm thinking, I hate Nazis. You know what I mean? I absolutely hate them.
Yeah.
And then you've got people, I call them fascists now. They're not left wing, they're fascists. And they're that far left, they think they're right. So they bark over here, they scream over here. And then if you've got any sort of different opinion than them, that's it, you're right wing.
Yeah, and I think it's a problem. It's a problem over here too, where if you're not to the extreme one way, the people who are to that extreme think you're at the other direction, whereas you may just be center of the road. Like,
Yep.
I got some things that may be conservative. I got some views that may be liberal. I'm not extreme one way or the other. Like, can't I just kind of agree with a little bit of everybody? No, no one's okay with that.
I like making money, and I don't like paying loads of tax on it. So probably in that respect, I'm right wing. That's what they call you, you're right wing. But like, it doesn't mean I'm not left wing. It means I still want to say make sure people are okay. You know what I mean? If you're poor, I want to try and help you. But what I don't accept is people who just don't want to work and expect loads of handouts and say you've got to go to work. You know what I mean? So it's like it's hard, but like as soon as you say the wrong thing, I've seen Sean Strickland. He got interviewed in Canada the other day, and the one about the transgender stuff, and I'm thinking, why on earth is that come up in an MMA interview? You know what I mean? They had a press conference for MMA, and you brought up transgender. Who cares?
I think that was a reporter going out of their way to try and bait Sean Strickland into saying something.
Yep.
And I think there's just a lot of that happens where it's the conversation is not about that thing. Why are you trying to get that guy's opinion on that thing?
Maybe
and I think
something like this, you know what I mean? But when you're at an MMA press conference, it's about MMA.
Right. And also, I don't know that's I personally don't care about Sean Strickland's views on that. Like, so I don't know why a reporter is going to ask. His opinion's his opinion. He can have his opinion. It's his to have.
Yeah.
It's not. It has nothing to do with the UFC. It's got nothing to do with Dana White. It's got nothing to do with his ability to fight.
I wrote something on. It was like a quote on, like people are fuming. I says, no, they're not fuming. I says, a few people are fuming. Most of the people don't care. And I bet there's more people agree with them than the people that are fuming. I says, why on earth are you bringing that up in an MMA press conference? Yeah. And I'm just happy that Sean Strickland has the balls to be able to say what he thinks, rather than have to say what he thinks people think he wants them to think. It's like we'll get to a point where you're frightened to think. If you don't agree with them, that's it. They're trying to cancel your job and everything.
Yeah, I think that it was good that he called the reporter out on the bullshit. Yeah. There's gonna be people who don't agree with him, people who agree with him, and people who want to be offended, who actually don't even have a dog in the race. They just want to be offended. But
I think that you're right. We're in that age now where people want to be a victim.
Yeah. And I think for him to just tell that reporter, like, just stop with the shit. And he was absolutely right to do that, because regardless of if people agree with him or disagree with him, that reporter was full of shit to do it. Like, it was uncalled for. Didn't need to happen.
No, definitely, you're right. It's keep fighting.
Yeah. I
The
think that,
MMA reports.
Dana's saying it's a fight game. Who cares about the politics? It's
Yeah.
fighting. Who gives a shit? Yeah, it's weird times that we live in, Nick. It's strange. It's really strange.
I think it's because we're old, We're not, like when you think back when your dad and your granddad and stuff like that, you're thinking, they think like that because they're old. I think it's just we're old.
That could be. It could be. I remember, my grandpa always telling me when I was young, my opinions on things would change as I got older. I'm like, yeah, crazy old man. Like, nah, things change. You get older and you start. I think as we age and we get older, we start seeing through the bullshit and all the smoke and mirrors, and we see things for what it is, and we know like not everything needs your opinion on it because most people don't care. They just want to. If your opinion is not theirs, they want to be mad at you for that. They don't want your opinion. They want you to have their opinion.
Yep, they want you to agree with them. And if you don't, that's it. You get labeled.
Yep, that's for sure. And I think that's what's happening to Sean Strickland. The thing is, I think that the combat sports fan base is a fan base that doesn't really value that idea of provoking someone to say something so you can be offended.
It's funny enough because like I say this to my wife all the time. She says I'm mental, but I says the next world war this world's going to have, it's not going to be country on country. There's going to be loads of civil wars within countries because the countries are that divided now. We're left and right. All the world wars is going to be a massive march somewhere and a massive kick-off, and there's going to be a world war of lots of civil wars.
Yeah, it'll be tons of infighting and all the people mad at each other when it's the system that kind of played us against each other anyway.
That's what it is. It is. It's like it's crazy. You've just got to learn people just either nice or you're not, and just get on. It's mad.
Yeah, it's weird, and it's always there's a lot of things that are throwing gasoline on fires to just try and make people upset with each other. Where we're all just people. We're all the same. We're all just trying to get by and take care of our families and be as happy as we can be. And me personally, I don't really need someone telling me when I'm supposed to be mad. I've been pissed off enough in my 41 years. I know when I'm mad. I don't need some social media account telling me I should be mad. I know when I'm mad.
It's like you say, just crazy times. It's crazy. I mean, I like it because I like arguing with people on social media. That's my little hobby. So later on the night times, I'll say something. Like on like at the minute it's Palestine versus Israel. So I'll go on a Palestine site. I'll say something against Palestine, and I'll go on an Israel site. I'll say something against them. And then you just get loads of people argue with you, and it's honestly it's hours entertainment for me. But
man, it's hard though because like I've been there on social media. I see some stupid post, and I'll go into the comments, and I'll just see just loads of people, and it's just all this stupidity. And I'll go in there and put my thing in, and then you got 100 responses of people tearing you apart. And my wife put me onto this trick. You do it. You see how people are. Delete your comment and just leave all their shit there, and your comment's gone. I'm like, it's like I sometimes I fall too far into it. I'm actively pissed off at these human beings that are within punching distance, so I can't hit them. It's like just delete it.
That's what gets you in it when you just say, like I had somebody threaten me the other day, and I wrote something on. I think he was Palestinian, and he wasn't Palestinian. He was British, but he supported Palestine, and it was all the free Palestine. I said something. I went, "It's always been Israel's land. It's in the Bible." And then he said something. He went, "If you were in front of my gang," and I think he called us fam. "If you were in front of my gang, fam," he says, "you wouldn't say that." I says, "I bet you I would." I says, "Why do you need a gang in anyways?" I says, "I thought you'd be solo. Like you need a gang for you." He went, "Mate," he says, "if you were me and you solo, you would run." I says, "Mate," I says, "I wouldn't be able to catch him." And I says, "I'll be slipping on your own shit." I says, "You cut your pants when I was in front of you." So, and anyways, we end up being pals. We start laughing about it. He says, "No, that was some funny stuff." That. And I says, "See, we disagree, but we can have a laugh and get on." You know what I mean? So it's mad,
And I think that's a big problem, is that people get too stuck in an idea that they can't come to terms that somebody maybe disagrees, but we can get along. We can have fun together. We can hang out together. It's just because you don't agree with someone doesn't mean you can't be their friend and you're not supporting of the individual. You can have total differences of opinions. Live next door to each other and still have a great time.
Thing with the labeling though, isn't it? You know what I mean? Once you're labeled, that's it. Like, oh, you cannot, he's off. You cannot label him, he's off. You know what I mean? But like you say, I can disagree with you on certain things. I might not like the same music. Doesn't mean I don't like it. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Honestly, it's the craziest time ever.
Yeah, everyone's got to have a label that separates them from their neighbor to feel special and to have someone to be mad at.
You're right. Self-importance, that's what it is. They've got to feel self-importance.
Yeah. I think it's ego inflation or something. I don't know.
I think I haven't done anything with their life, so they've got to, I'm joining in with this, and I'm joining in with that. They've got to be like part of the group, you know, to feel important. Like, I was part of that. I'm thinking, like, no, man, just work and go do whatever you do.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's just one of those things. I really hope that, I think as much as social media makes it easy for people to connect, it makes it equally as easy for people to divide. You just look right here with the podcast. Me and you, look how far separated we are in physical space. But I think we're two dudes who can easily get along with each other.
I mean, that's the thing, I think I'm quite easy to get on. I'm nice to everyone. I'm nice to you until you're not nice to me. And then even then I'll try and give you a second chance. You know what I mean? But like, I can get on with anyone, mate, and I think, like, I don't care where you're from, what you do, and I'll be nice to you until you're not nice to me. And I think if people start acting like that, maybe people will get on more,
Yeah. And I think too often whenever you find yourself in a situation where if you're a nice guy and you have to not be nice, no one ever asks what happened that made you not be nice.
I mean, I'm quite lucky, like I say, something happened to me, I think somebody in the street. I've never ever bullied anyone down there, so if I am, what I will say is the only thing I've ever punched is, and then,
let's say someone's complained I've hit them. And their friend will go, well, why is he doesn't hit people for nothing? You've done something. You know what I mean? So I'm quite lucky where I live. It's like if I've ever had to do it, which isn't very often, someone will say, well, you've deserved it, what have you done? But I think it's like back to the 80s, if you clip someone, it'll be like, well, why did you get clipped? You know what I mean? You've done something. You don't get clipped for nothing.
Yeah, it's crazy because, today there's no settling your differences that way anymore. I have memories of as a kid, my grandfather, he was in his 60s and he beat the piss out of his neighbor who was in his 20s because the guy was acting out. He got out of line, and the cops showed up. The guy called the cops and talked to my grandfather. My grandpa said he was acting like an asshole, so I dropped him and put the boots to him. And they went over and asked this dude. He was like 25. So what happened? The old man next door says you were popping off, and so he punched you. And he goes, "Yeah, that's what happened." The cop, you probably had that coming, and they left.
That's where it should be. That's where it should be. The problem, I think, like I say this as well, like the problem with the world is money, because back in the day, like if you were the biggest, strongest person in the group, you were the king. When you see the royal families and stuff, them were the biggest gang. So like royals, what they used to do they'd go and take over a village. They say, right, you owe us this much tax. We're going to look after you. That's no different to what the mafia do now. The mafia say, there's your shop. You pay me money. If anything happens, I'll sort it out for you. That's the royal family. That was how they become royals. That's what they've done. So like now that you've got money, you've now got puny little men who are trying to dictate what's going on because they can pay someone to do it. You know what I mean? Whereas back in the day, the biggest, toughest man was in charge. Now you've got this little pune. He's like proper pune. He's got this proper nice dolly bird on his arm. And he's walking around with a proper small-looking woman. And then he's paying for things. You know what I mean? Like, he's just breeding punier men. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, you look back and you look at, we all went through a global pandemic together. And I remember speaking about hypotheticals But some guys know, like, if it just goes really bad, like, what do you think happens? I'm like, the baddest dudes rule everything.
That's what happens.
Like,
That's what happens. Yeah.
The descendants of Vikings, that's who become your kings.
Yeah.
Because they will survive. And all the money in the world won't mean anything when there's nowhere to spend it.
It's crazy when you look at history, because you do what the Royals say now, but I think the Royals have put in a good platform to say, like, you can't do this back to it. You know what I mean? But that's how them become Royals.
Yeah. It's always by force.
Always.
Yes. That's it's the military is there to protect their investments, so that's what they're going to do. Well, Mick, I want to thank you for your time. I know that we're clicking up on time for a birthday dinner with your son.
I think I'm a little bit late now. Just looking at his.
Yeah, I don't want to get you in trouble. I know your wife can kick you in the head now, so I don't want to get you beat up before April. But I thank you for your time. I look forward to whoever it is, David Feldman gets on that contract to face you so you can get in there and do what you love doing. And that's punching people in the head. But I want to congratulate you on an amazing combat sports career, being, first BKFC heavyweight champ in the UK. It's amazing. I think you seem like a great guy I could easily get along with. I think anybody could, and it's going to be exciting to see what opportunities come your way, my friend.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having us on. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. You got any sponsors you need to shout out before we go? Anybody you need to give a nod to?
Mark Bailey Computer Clinic. He's my main sponsor. And Gillian, his wife, Gillian Harrison. They're great people. But if you need any computers fixing, Computer Clinic's the place.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everyone who's checked us out live on Instagram. If you're not live on Instagram, thank you for checking us out on Spotify, YouTube, Rumble, wherever it is you're finding us. I appreciate it. We're back tomorrow live on Instagram with our Week in Pro Wrestling. Monday, it's Dave Redneck Mundell will be joining us, and who knows what else we'll have coming. Thank you, everyone, for checking us out. Mick, thank you again. I hope you and your son have a great dinner. Take care, man.
Thanks a lot, mate. What you doing?